Yes, welcome to the No State Project live from the fortified compound in Mesa, Arizona. Glad to be with you today. Glad I can be with you today, considering all the crap that's going on. But appreciate everyone who's going to be tuning in shortly. I did give the caller number in the caller number is. I remember that it is in the show notes, so check that out. But I will give it out here: 717-275-8941, and the passcode is 1233428. And you can also get me on Skype. Well, you instant message, and then I will put you. I'll bring you up on the show. Frank Rizzo 3. That's Frank Rizzo with the number 3. So, and if you'd like to help support the No State Project, as long as we can continue doing this, it's much appreciated. It's why I have callers. I can do a call line today. MarcStevens.net and MarcStevens.cells.com. That's cells, SELZ, MarcStevens.cells.com. And yes, aloha, mahalo. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Maybe I'd like to see if we could repeat what we did a week ago today. All of a sudden, there was just we tripled the number of people that were on the live stream. So, yeah. The economic ramifications will kill more than the virus itself. Aren't these governors creating treasonous acts? Well, it's still the biggest news story, and will be for quite some time. That there coronavirus, and it was Charles Windsor has tested positive for the coronavirus hoax. So I tell you, boy, you kind of want the participation, and it helps more people. I guess you get more of a profile, your video of people are leaving comments, and I think I got more dislikes. I got 16 downvotes or dislikes on that last Saturday's video. Good numbers for this show. A lot of, but as far as views, but man, it's a lot of downvotes for one of my videos. I mean, we have the typical 3 or 4 that every single, these mindless, obsessed people that every single video I do, they're there. Oh, Mark's an idiot. Mark's this. They got to get their fix. This is a little bit above and beyond. And I tell you, I mean, I'm used to having dissent. Again, it's from the same handful of people. Man, you talk about the coronavirus not being a hoax. You bring out some hate. I mean, some of you guys, you don't just disagree with me. Man, you can feel the hatred and the anger that is behind that. Some of those comments, like, my gosh, so get a grip. People are getting sick, and I don't see any evidence that they're faking the test, that it's just the regular flu, and they're faking the test and saying it's actually a new virus. It's this COVID-19. It's different. So it's all a hoax, that it's just the regular flu. Well, unfortunately, the COVID-19 has gotten personal. And apparently the globalist people, it's the globalists, the Masons, the globalists, gay, turning the frogs gay. The globalists have apparently tricked my brother's family into believing that his mother-in-law died from a hoax. She's dead. That part is real. And they've convinced my brother and his family she died of a hoax. It wasn't COVID-19 she tested positive for. No, it was just regular flu. Regular flu. They convinced the nurses. They convinced the doctors. They're not looking at a different virus. They're looking at just the flu. It's no different. They've got them all convinced. It's bad enough his mother-in-law passed away, someone he's been close to for 25 years. Nope, that's not bad enough. But they have to lie and say she died from the COVID-19. So the globalists are doing a good job of convincing people. And some of you guys think that I'm an idiot. I'm a moron. I'm a jackass. Because I don't believe it's a hoax. People are actually getting sick and they're dying. Well, have you seen the actual tests? No. But the idea that the tests are faking the results. Yes, I'm not talking about false positives. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying people are theorizing that the test itself is faking the result. The tests aren't real. They're fake. So, well, somebody's saying, yeah, you can call in 717-275-8941. The passcode is 123-3428 to join me here on the show. I don't think it's a hoax. I think people are really getting sick. If you look at the number of cases, the United States is about 10 days behind Italy. In Italy, they're having over 600 people dying a day. I know there's going to be some. It's the globalist. It's all fake. Did you see the bodies? It's all fake. But we're on track. 10 or 11 days behind Italy. The numbers are very close. Numbers we've never seen before. Total number of cases in the United States, 54,000 and change, which was a huge increase from just a couple days ago. The total deaths, including my brother's mother-in-law, 737. So I think it's in 139 countries. That's why it's called a pandemic. Yes, I know. The globalists want you to believe it's in every country. 737 total deaths in the United States. That is horrific. I know there's people dying from the flu, and that's terrible also. But it's starting to overwhelm the hospitals. Soon, seeing that the projection is like Italy, we're not just going to have 737 deaths total. We're going to have almost 700 deaths in a day. And that day is coming. So I would recommend, obviously, the washing of the hands and the social distancing. And even if the impeached president wants to open things back up and ease things, I would recommend not getting into going to church or any social functions like that and being around a lot of people. The globalists are doing a pretty good job, I guess. It's just to destroy the economy so they can rebuild it. Something that they've been saying and Alex Jones has been screaming about for 20 years. Every single year, if you go back and you listen to Alex Jones, every single year they were doing false flags to take everybody's guns. And I'm not saying I agree. Government is criminal by nature. There's no way around that. Those are the facts. But this constant fear mongering that Alex and his ilk do, I can't. How many you would say in 20 years he's predicted 20 global economic meltdowns. There's been one, and we're right in the beginning of another one. I guess, you just keep shouting global meltdown. Eventually you'll get it right. So, yeah. Someone's pointing out the population, 314 plus million. Yeah, but if you look at the numbers on how it is accelerating, and the reason why we're getting an explosion, and probably the reason why we're getting an explosion in the number of cases is because they're finally doing a lot of tests. It's easy to turn around and say, well, 314 million, when it comes to you, and unfortunately, it's going to. Just like my brother's mother-in-law passed away yesterday. When it gets to be personal to you, yeah, few 100,000 people die of heart disease every year out of 314 million. What? But when it happens to you, when someone close and dear to you, or one of those 100,000 or so people that die every year from heart disease, yeah, that kind of sucks. You can't just blow it off. Well, okay. So a cop shot an unknown black man. There's what? How many? 314 million people in the United States, and there's one. Okay, they killed 1,000. Okay, cops killed 1,000 people last year. They, and they kill about 1,000 to 1,500 people every year out of 314 million people. I mean, are the cops really that violent? I mean, come on, 1,000 when there's 315 million of us. Well, why are you complaining? What? I should stop. I'm almost inclined to stop the show right here. The reason why we're getting explosions because we're under lockdown. It's the exact opposite thing to do. This is an RNA virus. If you understand what RNA is, this is the worst thing to do. Social distancing is the worst thing to do to spread a virus. Actually, not being around other people. Someone's going to explain. Maybe I'm just too stupid to understand that. You lock it down. You lock it. I don't get that at all. China's news is probably telling them that the communist Americans locked down their streets and are patrolling them with drones. Well, it's hard to believe anything that comes out of China. But I discussed that on the last show, how it was predicted back in 2007 that if the cultural practices of eating exotic mammals in southern China is not stopped, it's a ticking because it's a ticking time bomb. So, all right. It just goes to show quarantining isn't working. So what the F is the point of continuing it? Well, it's not that it's not working. It's like I mentioned before. Some of the reason this is a longer incubation period where you're asymptomatic, a lot longer than with the flu or the common cold. So it's like that's why they're saying you self-quarantine for 2 weeks. It takes a lot longer to be symptomatic, and it's exploding. And it could be because a big reason is they're finally testing here. Then they weren't doing aggressive testing like in South Korea where they're doing the drive up. That kind of stuff has just started months later here in the United States. And people aren't quarantining. People aren't staying home. You can see pictures from the United States and also in Australia. They're not staying home. They're having quarantine parties. We're having large gatherings of people's houses. They're not staying away from large crowds. Some have, but a large percentage, I don't know how many, numbers we've never seen before. Nobody would believe the numbers of people still not. It's just, so they're not complying. So, a good, so who knows how many, but enough. So there are other factors. One thing I've learned in my years is things are not nearly as black and white as you guys want them to be or as I want them to be. Context. Got to have more context. Well, then there's more cases, so it must be because people are quarantining. So what do we have? The false cause. One of the many logical fallacies. All those people would, so many of these people were washing their hands, and now we're getting even more numbers of coronavirus. Stop washing your hands. That's what's causing it. Oy. Yeah, the false cause. So, presuming that a real or perceived relationship between things means that one is the cause of the other. Basically, correlation does not equal causation. So it's kind of silly to think that all the hand washing. Hey, there were more people listening to the live broadcast a week ago. Oh my gosh, more people listening to the No State Project. Coronavirus is getting. I thought we were better than that on the show. I thought we were doing better, as far as the logical fallacies. But what do you do? What do you do? So those are the numbers. It's getting bad. It is getting really bad out there. So the spring breakers. Well, if I get it, I get it. If I die, I die. Wow. All right. The mainstream media fear virus spreading like cray-cray. People are dying. I'm not saying that the media doesn't hype things up, but that doesn't mean that everything's a hoax. I wish it was. Somebody's saying maybe this will kill all the crazy boomers. Yeah. Well, there's certainly the older, just like with the regular flu virus that we have every year. They're compromised. If they're older, they have underlying issues. Yeah. And just because they're dying because there are underlying issues doesn't mean that this is not contributing in a massive way to people's deaths. If, the but for, my brother's mother-in-law getting the coronavirus, would she have still died as quickly as she did? So at least it seems there's some of the panic buying, at least around me, here in Arizona, Mesa, Phoenix area, that the shelves are starting to get back to normal. And I was even able to, I had to take a picture of this because it was shocking. And so depending on when you get there, you can actually, can you see that? Or is it just too bright? No. I'm sorry. It's supposed to be it's toilet paper on the shelf. So maybe I should have made that the thumbnail for maybe I will make that the thumbnail for the show. It was gone an hour or so later, but it was there. So maybe people just stop stockpiling stuff. Well, they will use pandemic to take stuff to property and money. Well, yeah, this is obviously going to be abuse. They're trying to end end-to-end encryption online, which is something that the Republicans are trying to do right now. I don't remember what the name of the bill is, but they're trying to end online end-to-end encryption. That's bad. Never. I don't remember who said it, but never letting any emergency go to waste. They're trying to end encryption online. So, yeah. Who is it? Always the Republicans, or they're always screaming about privacy. Oh, that's right. The Republicans. If you grew up and you remember the Bush years, the Republican politicians, they're the ones. If you don't have anything to hide, No, if you got if you don't have anything to hide, what's the big deal? If there's no encryption, why do you need encryption? So yeah, there's definitely bad people out there, and and those called government, those who are just men and women forcing us to give the money. Yeah, there's some pretty bad people, and they are taking advantage, obviously, of this situation. Not because it's a hoax, but it diverts attention. While everyone's worried about getting toilet paper, they're gonna go and they're gonna try to end-to-end encryption on the internet. So we'll see how that works out. Hopefully, that's not something that they're going to be able to get through, because occasionally you hear some good things from the courts. Where they try to, cops or politicians try to get away with certain things. So I think Rob in Seattle for this. I think we do a lot from techdirt.com. It says federal court blasts lying cop using his warrantless search of a room to fraudulently obtain a search warrant. I'm pretty certain we're not going to see anywhere here where the judge, in his outrage, held a cop in contempt and threw him in jail. We'll see. We'll see what they, we'll see what's there. Where was I? Yes. And this is reported by Tim Cushing. It's not often you see a court actually call a police officer a liar, but it happened in this case. Hold on. Oh. I guess it's United States versus Mercedes Abreu. While investigating a murder, Puerto Rico PD Homicide Division agent Pedro Medina Negron performed a sweep of the house to ensure there were no victims or dangerous perpetrators inside. While performing his sweep of the scene, Agent Medina claimed to have seen several things in plain view. He described seeing raw rice on the floor, a gun magazine on top of the dresser, a large amount of cash in a gray bag on the floor, and bags of rubber bands, boxes of Ziploc bags, and empty instant coffee packets on the bed. He also described finding a large quantity of rice in plain view in the kitchen trash can. Agent Medina explained that rice and coffee are often used to conceal the smell of drugs. Rice? Okay. First I've heard that. And at the size of the coffee packets, he observed approximately 1 pound bags matched his professional experience with the size of coffee bags used in drug trafficking. He also noted that in his experience, Ziploc bags, rubber bands, firearms, and cash are associated with drug trafficking. He confirmed with defendants that they did not have gun permits. Building from his supposed plain view observations, Agent Medina called in a drug dog to perform a search of the room. It alerted on a suitcase in a closet, and officers discovered 2 guns in the closet after moving clothing to get to the suitcase. Medina then applied for a search warrant to search the home and open the suitcase, establishing probable cause with all the stuff he claimed he saw in plain sight when he performed the sweep. 8 hours later, after his first observations, Medina obtained the search warrant. This search turned up a large quantity of drugs and cash. The search was challenged by the defendants, who were pretty sure everything Medina claimed to have seen in plain sight wasn't actually out in the open. Utilizing the metadata from the 600 photos from the PD's forensic team took at the house during their murder investigation, defendants exposed Agent Medina for the liar he is. Well, no kidding, he's a cop. And I think cops are presumptively liars. If you want to see any kind of reform with this disgraceful legal system, it would be police officers are presumptively lying. They are not to be believed, because hey, all that you would be doing would be is flipping the presumption. They presume that we're lying. That's why if it's our word against the cop, they're always going to take the cop, because they're presuming that we're lying. But here, time and time and time again, the cops are the ones that are lying. This is only one of Medina's many lies uncut by the forensic team's photos of the crime scene. Although Agent Medina asserted in his sworn statement and evidentiary hearing testimony that he saw the gray bag of cash in plain view, he later testified to the opposite. He stated on cross-examination that he did not see the gray bag during his protective sweep. Rather, Agent Medina testified that the forensics officers alerted him to the bag while they were working the room, a phrase he clarified meant searching. According to a 4:54 p.m. photograph, officers found the bag on the bedroom floor, wedged between the wall and a large armchair and obscured by a floor-length curtain. The bag appears to be a small nylon reusable grocery tote. In a photograph taken at 5:29, the armchair had been pushed away from the wall, better revealing the gray bag, which was tied shut. Its contents were were concealed. By 5:37, investigators had moved the gray bag onto a countertop and placed a yellow evidence tag next to it. The bag is still closed in that photo, but the photograph taken 1 minute later shows the bag open. Inside the bag is a roll of cash and what appears to be a brown paper bag containing a rectangular object. Agent Medina confirmed that he had to open the bag to ascertain its contents, and he admitted that he opened the bag before obtaining a search warrant. Evidence on record shows that all cash had been seized, counted, displayed, and a picture taken by 7:31 p.m., hours prior to the request and issuance of the search warrant. Yeah. Every search performed by Puerto Rican law enforcement officers at the scene was tainted. According to Agent Medina, the entire house was clear when he found the gun magazine on the dresser, coffee on the bed, and the gray bag of money behind the chair. The metadata on the photographs indicate that the government search occurred several hours after Agent Medina arrived on the scene, after the phone was secured, and took several hours, and was not limited to places where a person may be hiding, such as, for example, inside a small reusable bag. The government offers no justification for the warrantless search of the bedroom, and the court finds none. The government's rummaging in the locked bedroom, moving furniture, clothing, blankets, and draperies, and opening cabinets and drawers violated the defendant's Fourth Amendment rights. After blasting the PD as a whole, the court focuses again on Agent Medina. This is one of the most thorough bench slappings I've read. One that says that the court thinks Medina is a habitual liar who should not be allowed to wear a badge. I'm gonna read this bench slapping, but if you really want to send a message, judges throw people in jail for asking questions. Here is a cop he's saying is a habitual liar. Why did he get to go home that night? The court, again, this is the court reading, the judge. The court admonishes Agent Medina's flagrant dishonesty before this court and the court issuing the search warrant. Indeed, the court considers his behavior sufficiently egregious to warrant a perjury and/or obstruction of justice investigation. Nice. The court has no means to determine if this is the first time that Agent Medina lied to this court. However, as it relates to this case, he blatantly lied to the state judiciary while submitting a sworn statement with firsthand information he clearly knew to be false. Again, this is what cops do. Cops lie. They call it test-a-lying. Cops are dishonest. This is probably something that happens every day. Secondly, he admitted in federal court, and after taking an oath to testify truthfully, he once again testified falsely because you don't do anything. You don't do anything. You let him get away with it. You could have put him in jail right then and there for contempt. It's great. Use the word perjury. Make suggestions. That's great. But it's meaningless if you don't take action. You got to put him in jail. Put the cop in jail. Agent Medina's behavior and testimony may be suggestive of a I've not encountered this word. I would have thought it was misspelled. Routinary A routine practice, I'm going to just read it my way, suggestive of a routine practice as a law enforcement officer to lie under oath and mischaracterize evidence to serve his investigatory purposes. If so, Agent Medina's disregard of constitutional rights and basic rules of criminal procedure and investigation poses a threat to individuals' rights and to the community he purports to serve, and needs to be addressed and investigated. Well, yes, that's great. And that was the United States District Court judge reading that. Well, yeah, of course he should be. Well, we'll see if anything happens. I kind of doubt it. And, you know, it stands to reason that the prosecutors knew the testimony he was going to give on the stand, that they had prepped their witnesses the way they typically do, and probably knew in advance that the cop was lying through his teeth. And what did you do? You put that lying bitch on the stand. He probably did it at the direction. He probably did it at the direction of the prosecutor. The prosecutor probably knew that he was lying and put him on the stand anyway. Would be nice to see if the prosecutor does follow through and investigates. Yeah, what are they going to do? They're going to investigate their own office? Hey, we investigated ourselves, and we've determined once again no wrongdoing. No wrongdoing. At least the judge is giving lip service to what should be done. But I don't see the prosecutor's office. Well, the feds could always do it because they lied in federal court. Maybe the DOJ. I don't see anything happening here. Well, just once I want to see one of these things where the judge, they nail this cop for lying, which is a fairly easy thing to do. I mean, if their lips are moving, they're lying. They're like, your basic politician. Throw him in jail. Lock him up. Republican, the MAGA guys, you love saying lock him up so much. Lock him up. Lock him up. And just like Senator Burr is now under, there was supposed to maybe an investigation, an actual complaint in court for violating the Stock Act, because he knew how bad. He knew it was pandemic. He knew how bad the coronavirus was going to be, and he kept on telling people, "Oh, it's contained. It'll be contained. It's okay. It'll be contained. It's just, yeah, well, we only have 5 cases now. We'll have 0 soon." Meanwhile, he's dumping his stock. Nothing's going to happen to him. It's all for show. And yes, Dianne Feinstein was one of them accused of that. Well, nothing's going to happen. 2 sets of books. 2 sets of books. So Nelson is saying, just another example that Briscoe v. LaHoo is still alive and doing well. I'm not getting the reference. You're going to have to do. And then Johnny Depp is saying it's a propaganda war. Nothing has happened. 9,000 people die every year from food poisoning. Well, that might actually be true. I can't dispute that. That doesn't mean that other people dying is still not a tragedy, especially people dying prematurely. I don't get this. Somebody's saying that they're on the. We do have callers. I have another thing I wanted to talk about too, but. Well, let me just discuss this last thing, and we'll get to the calls. This is also from techdirt.com, reported by the same guy, Tim Cushing. All hail the mighty drug warriors. The war on drugs is being fought by people who like cash, easy bus, and imagined traffic violations. The soldiers in the trenches literally believe they're soldiers in the trenches fighting a war at home, not as protectors and servants, but as a conquering army sent in to control the local populace. The Baltimore PD, man, they had 6 or 7 Baltimore PD last year that were actually convicted in federal court. Conspiracy. So you don't rob You don't rob Uncle Sam. You rob the poor people on the street of Baltimore. You don't rob the police department. Don't rob the government. The Baltimore PD has problems with its drug enforcement units, several, enough that the DOJ stepped in and forced the city and the PD to sign a consent agreement in which the PD would be forced to do what it always should have done, respect the Constitution and rights of the people the PD serves. Dozens of cases were dismissed after a cop was caught by his own body camera appearing to plant drugs at the scene of an arrest. It turned out he was just doing a dramatic reenactment of his own discovery earlier, but forgot about the rolling 30-second buffer, which caught him shoving drugs into a coffee can and then pretending to just have discovered it the second time around. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Hundreds of cases are up for dismissal now. Misconduct appears to be the rule, not the exception. Yes. And it has resulted in the city's drug warriors being exposed as no better than the perps they went after. I think they're far worse than the perps that they were going after. It's reported in the Baltimore Sun by Justice Fenton. It was billed as the biggest cocaine bust in Baltimore Police Department history. Officers from the Elite Violent Crimes Impact Division conducting surveillance on a West Baltimore drug trafficker a decade ago found 41 kilos of cocaine. For the Americans in the audience, 41 kilos is about 82 or 83 pounds. That's a lot of cocaine. That is a lot of cocaine. And says, just good old-fashioned police work from the ground up, read the commendation awarded by the department to the officers on the bust. In on a Detective Ivo Lovato was charged Thursday with lying to the FBI about participating in a scheme to sell cocaine from that bust. Prosecutors said in court records that he and two others conspired to sell 3 kilograms, it's about 7 pounds, 3 kilograms that were not reported as seized, giving the drugs to a confidential informant to sell and dividing the proceeds among themselves. Lovato's alleged cut $10,000. The glowing commendation that has been tarnished by this discovery can be they have a picture of it. It lauds 7 members of the PD's violent crime unit for their bust of 5 violent traffickers. It was reported at the time these drugs, wherever they were destined, whether west in Baltimore, the Eastern Shore, or east or west Baltimore, they are affecting our communities. Police Chief Bielfeld said at a news conference, 41 kilos of cocaine will not reach the streets of our city. All of us can take some. No, they're going to reach the streets, but through the police department. Oy vey. Oh my gosh. That's some hardcore criminality there. I appreciate everyone's patience who have been holding. Whoa. Yeah. I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel with these headphones. Let's see, what do we got here? We have area code 191. You are live on the No State Project. What's your name? Where you calling from? Hello. Yeah, I got no audio. Well, we'll mute them back up. Not that I have to. But we'll unmute. We got area code 171. You're live on the No State Project. What's your name? Where you calling from? I don't know what's going on there. So, well, I'll try again. But it could be because my headphones are. It might be because of the headphones. So what I'll do is, I don't like to do it this way. Hopefully we don't get too much interference. But the headphones are finally gone. We'll get rid of those. I'm going to have to come up with $4 to replace those. I will try this again. Area code 191. You're live on the No State Project. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yeah, I don't get it. All right. It's getting late in the show anyway, so I'll probably just won't. I'm just not going to be able to take. Oh, I guess saw what happened there. All right, I'm not going to be able to take calls. For some reason I got disconnected. So anyway, I think I'm going to end the show. Just summarize and end the show here, and get back to things on the Saturday show. So hopefully I have another set of headphones, and it won't be an issue. But appreciate everyone tuning in. I didn't get to see too many of the comments here. Maybe I live. Johnny Death is saying I live in Northeast Ohio. We have the per capita death rate for opiates. Yeah, and what's his name? Rod Rosenstein. I don't have it in front of me right now, but Assistant Attorney General was supposedly one of the key men in killing an investigation for opioid deaths against Walmart. So that's why when billionaires, $1 billion companies don't get, if they're investigated, it's rare, and if there's any kind of punishment, it's just a fine. I mean, look at the banks. Good Lord, look at the banks. It's just a fine. Too big to jail, too big to fail, too big to jail. That's what it is. So yeah, and yes, a lot of people commit suicide. It's at epidemic proportions. It's bad. It's a bad time right now, but that doesn't mean that this new virus that jumped from animals to humans in China and has spread across the entire world and is killing people every day, doesn't mean that that's any less, something that just, whatever. I got mine. It's just like the people hoarding toilet paper. I don't give a damn. I got mine. I fangul. I don't have to care. It's not giving a damn about anybody else. I can't. When I went and I couldn't show the picture. You do the normal thing. You just take the one. It's just like the other day. There was actually the big 3-pound bags of lentils at the store. And by the time I got there was only 2 left in the box. Are you supposed to just, well, they're finally here. I got mine. I fangul to anybody behind me. Oh, yeah, I took one. Because it's a real dick move. Because there are other people that need that stuff. I think what really has come out, what really is the virus, is just like Agent Smith said in The Matrix. We're the virus. Certainly when you look at people like Alex Jones, the globalist. Yeah, when you look at not necessarily the comments here, but when you see the comments after the live stream, holy crap. Yeah, people suck. Well, it's a yin and yang kind of thing. There's some really good people out there, and there's some really just god-awful people. So, and usually they wear a badge. They can walk into court. Yes, this judge is saying, indeed, the court considers his behavior sufficiently egregious to warrant a perjury and or obstruction of justice investigation. Imagine for a second, I was caught, or you, any one of us plebes, in federal court, being flagrantly dishonest with the judge. Flagrantly dishonest. Egregiously dishonest. Do you think you walk home that night? Oh, you don't walk home that night. Hell no. So Johnny Death is saying, my personal experience with cops is I have been in most examples treated well, but regardless, the cops did things that were illegal. Well, just because you were treated well doesn't mean we're all treated well. I have scars on my wrist from a Mesa cop who put handcuffs on me so tight I was bleeding. Now, does every single cop do that? No, he could have killed me. He could have curb stomped my head. Just because your experience or my experience wasn't bad doesn't mean people don't have bad experiences. And just because this cop blatantly and flagrantly lied in court doesn't mean that all cops do. There are some that don't. I still think it happens enough, at least in my head, they are presumptively dishonest. So, presumptively dishonest. So, well, I appreciate everyone tuning into the show today. I apologize I couldn't get the calls. I will do better on the Saturday show. So I didn't get a chance to do any testing, but I thought I was connected. Somehow I got disconnected. I'll have another set of headphones. Getting a $4 set of headphones is not like going and getting toilet paper. So yeah, I should have it. So thanks for tuning in for this March, March 25th edition of the No State Project. I wish everyone just enjoy some isolation. I know I appreciate it. That's one thing that kills the beach for me is the crowds. I can't stand crowds. I can't stand crowds. It ruins everything. But till we're live again on Saturday, stay healthy and hey, salud a tutti.